In the case against the former NYPD officer accused of killing his son, teachers took the stand to convey how the Valva boys were regularly cold, hungry, and had an overall decline in their health in the years leading up to Thomas Valva's death. News 12's crime reporter Krista McNally was in the courtroom throughout the day and has more shocking testimony today.
That's right. We heard a lot from Anthony's teacher today. If you'll remember, Thomas and Anthony were the brothers that were forced to sleep in their garage for months in the Polina Valva home. Now, that teacher spoke in great detail of the many times that she called CPS for various reasons, some of those reasons being bruises found on Anthony. She detailed one day in particular where Anthony walked in with his head down going into the classroom, and when he looked up, she saw his nose swollen with blood inside of his nostrils. She took pictures of Anthony, and we saw that in the courtroom today. And if I could explain to you those pictures a little bit, Anthony was smiling ear to ear the way a child would if a teacher would ask you to smile for the camera, and that little boy had a swollen nose, and clearly something had happened to him. The teacher had said later that day they also saw marks on his wrist, almost looking as if the boy had been tied up at some point. When they asked the parents what had happened, the response was that he had woken up that way. Special education teacher Nicole Papa was sobbing in the courtroom, saying about Thomas and Anthony Valva, quote, "They just didn't look like the same children. They were thin and frail and not the same." That is how she described the boys in the fall of 2018, compared to the year before when they entered the school as happy, healthy children. Papa testified she called CPS on behalf of the boys many times, saying the boys were always cold, had more behavioral issues, sometimes had bruises, lost weight, and wouldn't be given breakfast. She said, quote, "When you would hug them, you could feel their bones." It is reported Anthony lost 20 pounds in a year and Thomas only gained 1 pound. There was one time CPS was at a faculty meeting when Papa said she angrily stood up and told them, quote, "We have a family in the school district abusing children. We call you and you find it unfounded." Papa claims there was a pattern of CPS being called, issues with the Valva boys getting better and then declining again. Jennifer Hallborough also took the stand. She is a third-grade teacher and taught Anthony in the 2018-2019 school year. She spoke very fondly of Anthony and said they were all so proud of him when he was the first in the grade to win a multiplication crown. Hallborough said there was always issues with Anthony being hungry and cold, so she kept a special red sweatshirt for him in class. He did not take it home because, quote, "He said he would get in trouble or it would get taken away." As she described the boys' condition deteriorating, she said it would be even worse and they would be down more weight after a holiday or a long weekend. And she saw bruising in the shape of an adult hand on Anthony's forearm. Hallborough reported this to CPS as well.
I think each teacher admitted that Michael Valva was active in his children's lives. He participated in their schooling. He cared for what was happening with them, and it goes to our overall theme, which is that regardless of how you feel about Michael Valva's parenting, his disciplinary methods, that he truly cared for his boys.
Again, both teachers detailed the many CPS reports that they had made. That's the latest from Riverhead. Krista McNally, News 12, Long Island.